Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is DMAC, and today I am looking at the ABUS 6540 long shackle, and looking at these ones in particular. Actually, these ones have been in my collection for a long time, and really, this was the lock that got me into locksport, got me into lock picking. At all. I mean, I bought the acrylic lock and the cheap Chinese picks and that sort of thing, and opened that lock, and I think I got hold of a Master 140, and definitely had an interest in it. But it was these locks that cemented that interest, I think. After getting the acrylic lock and picking the Master 140, I was looking out on eBay for various locks, and I came across these ABUS 6540s. I think it was a job lot of locks, all identical. No, they were all keyed differently, but all the same locks. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but I think I felt I paid too much at the time. But I was following the advice of Lockpick and Lawyer, which is a great advice for picking practice, and that is to not just pick this particular lock, because picking this lock over and over again, although it will teach you many things, it will mainly teach you how to pick this particular lock rather than pick this type of lock. So it's much better if you can to get several of the same types of lock and work your way through them, and that way you're not just remembering the particular binding order of this lock or the particular way that this lock feels. You're getting a feel for that type of lock, so that if you approach it, it's not one you've picked before, a different binding order, different feel to it, you'll still intuitively be able to solve this little puzzle. So that's what I did. I think it was 10 or 12 or 15, I can't remember, of these locks, and very excited when they arrived, and sat down with my picks and couldn't pick them at all. It was quite difficult at first. It took a long time, but I would sit there, and for half an hour or an hour I'd set all the locks up on the table one by one, go through them, try and pick them, and perhaps I'd spend sort of an hour or so at a time sessioning the locks, and maybe of the 10 or 12 locks I'd maybe pick 2, and just try as I might, I couldn't get the other ones. I'd never pay attention to which locks I'd picked. They were all numbered, as you can see there, number 36. I never paid attention to which locks were which. I just picked up the locks, I picked them, and then I jumbled them all up again and started again the next day. And it was a very frustrating process, to be honest. It did take me a long time, but I stuck with it. I put the hours in, and before long I was getting 4 of the 12, and then 5 and 6, and I remember the day when I sat down and picked through the whole lot, which was absolutely fantastic. I think by the time I'd got around to actually picking all of these locks, it probably took me about 15-20 minutes, which was fantastic. It was the fastest time I'd picked any locks. That amount of locks was the fastest time I'd ever done it. And even after that, by that time I'd got various other locks. I bought mixed boxes of Euro cylinders, that sort of thing, and other locks, but I still kept going back to these. These were my warm-up locks for a long time. I slowly sold them on, I gave them away, and I've only got these 3 now. This one's again, it was another job lot I got. I think I got 10 or so of these Squires, which are the bitting's not quite as good, but they're little 5-pin locks. I don't think there's any spools in these ones. I think what I liked about the Abuses is that there were spools in them, so they were a great teacher of feedback. Let's try and pick through these while I'm talking, and you can see what I mean. They're only 5-pin locks. I think when I first started to pick them, I really didn't know where I was in the keyway. I didn't know what pin I was on. It was a steep learning process, but the more I picked them, see there, as soon as I touched pin 1, we're into a full set, so pin 1 is probably a standard and the rest are spools. We get some nice feedback, some nice counter rotation there on the tension wrench as I go through, and there we go, that one just opens up. He probably would have taken me a lot longer than that when I first started, for sure. And although it's not a memory of these particular locks that are helping me to pick them, it's just that muscle memory of feeling what the tension wrench does, feeling what a set pin feels like, feeling where you are in the lock and what you're doing. So I'm going to use quite heavy tension there to try and get a bit of feedback out of the lock. There's nothing on 1, 2, 3. There's a click on 4. There you go, I'm talking now. I'm going to be sitting here for 20 minutes and unable to pick this one now, so let's try that again. There we go, click on 1 that time. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nothing on him. Go back. He's not playing ball now. 1. There we go. Nice movement on the core as well, which tells us we're on the right track for sure. I think we're just hung up on 1 spool now. Oh no. More than 1 spool. Don't know what's holding us up on this one. Let's put him down for a minute, try this one. But yeah, as you can see, you know, with the pins there, some fantastic feedback on those spools. Must be quite deep spools. Just on that first pin, you can see the tension wrench just slip right over. I think getting that feedback from the lock is positive feedback from yourself, for yourself in your picking skills, in that what you're doing is having an effect on the lock to get it open. I've got to go back to this one. I really must get it open, otherwise I'll never sleep tonight. So do bear with me. I think there was always a couple of these locks, like any locks that really used to be difficult. Maybe this is one of them. So on paper it seems like an easy lock, but for whatever reason when you try to pick it, the picking gods aren't with you, and it ends up being very difficult. There we go, second time lucky. But yeah, so there you go. Just wanted to do a quick video about these 6540s. Fantastic locks to learn on for a first lock, and I certainly encourage, if you're a beginner, buying several of the same lock, as many as you can. I mean, 10 for me was a great number. I think, like I say, I had 10 of these Abasis and 10 or 12 and about 10 of these Squires as well. I would sit there and go through them, and yeah, it really does teach you a lot about the locks, and I think I was able to use that knowledge for the rest of the locks, particularly American locks, with the way that they feel with the feedback and the spools. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend buying several of the same locks to practice with. But there you go, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.